Okay, today we're going to wrap up the slave auctions topic 2.6 by describing the nature of these auctions in the southern US states during the 19th century. We're also going to spotlight some influential African American writers who tried to raise awareness about the dehumanizing cruelty suffered by those who were bought and sold at auction and to advance the cause of abolition through their work. We've already discussed what an auction is, that African Americans were being publicly paraded in front of crowds of jeering bidders, and that this amounts to their commodification, which means that they were being treated as property. At this point, we should introduce the term chattel because it's the word most often used to describe the legal status of African Americans until 1865. Chattel means personal, movable property. So anything that you own as your personal possession that you can take with you if you move is your chattel. Your house and your land don't count because they're not movable, but all your stuff basically is your chattel. And because you can take it with you, you can sell it at a marketplace. Chattel could be any type of property sold on the market. Clothing could be chattel, food could be chattel, and livestock could be chattel. And of course, before the abolition of slavery in the US, African Americans were considered chattel too. They were legally not human beings, but property. Legally, they were bound to a master, and so were their children, and they were the private, personal, chattel property of that master. The law protected the master's rights to buy and sell property on the free market and to make whatever deals would benefit his financial interests, but it said nothing about the rights of enslaved people, not even to their own children. The painful truth is that family separation was an entirely legal and normal part of living under slavery for African Americans. It is well documented that children were frequently sold from their grieving mothers, and that resistance to being sold at auction was met with fierce brutality, including whipping, torture, and mutilation, sometimes in front of friends and family. The emotional and physical abuse suffered by African Americans at slave auctions constitutes nothing less than a full blown assault on their bodies, minds, and spirits. Oh, God, not this guy again. What do you want, Trey? What? You say that slavery was a benign institution? That it was to the benefit of African Americans because it civilized them and taught them skills? I mean, I know this was the kind of nonsense slave owners used to say 160 years ago, but it's 2023 and most of us know better now. Honestly, this sounds pretty dumb even for you, Trey. Hey, wait a minute. That isn't Trey. It's Florida governor and professional blowhard Ron DeSantis. And yes, he did say the part about how enslaved people were lucky to learn valuable skills. Sadly, this is the kind of thing that passes for education in the state of Florida at the moment, and that's ridiculous. But most of us do know better than to buy into this trope, and that's largely due to the committed efforts of authors like Solomon Northup, whose side eye game was second only to his talents as a writer. He helped to counter the myth of slavery as benign through his account of being sold and witnessing slave auctions firsthand. His book is called 12 Years a Slave, and it was eventually made into a major motion picture. Another Black author who worked to dismantle the myth of slavery's benevolence toward the enslaved was Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, whose poetry we'll be looking at shortly. Writers like Northup and Harper were instrumental in raising awareness of the inhuman and heinous nature of slavery and slave auctions, and their literary works helped to build support for the abolitionist movement. In our next lesson, we will take a deeper look into the commodification of enslaved people, especially how their experience was impacted by the market forces of supply and demand during the 1800s. Stay tuned.